Hello, thank you for coming on and joining and all the rest of it. I think I've spoken to pretty much all of you. So my name's Coffee. I'm also running a separate AI channel, which would be great if you guys could head over to as well on YouTube. So that's AI Tech Trek, where I'm covering a lot of Leo, covering lots of different other things as well. Flow state is something that I've actually started playing with quite a lot in the last kind of couple of days, though, a couple of weeks, and it's taken me by surprise just how good this is. Like, bearing in mind I've been doing like AI images and all the rest of it for probably over 2 years or so now, and where we are now compared to 2 years ago is absolutely insane. So, this is Flow State. It's a new thing from Leo. With it is, I think the biggest thing for me is how fast stuff is getting made on this. The times when I first started doing AI images and all the rest of it, we used to have to wait minutes upon minutes for things to come out, and there was always issues with them. And flow state is just, it's so good. Honestly, I can't get over just how good it is. So I'm just going to run through kind of flow state, what I found with it, and what a couple of tricks I've picked up with it as well. Because I know I put a video out onto my YouTube about this, and I actually had a couple of people come back and say that they've used it and didn't even realize that they could be doing that kind of stuff with it. So there's a few tricks here that I don't think everybody has picked up on yet, so I'm going to go over a few things. I'm not going to do this right from the start. I assume you all know how to get into flow state and everything, so we're just going to go from there. With this, I think the biggest thing with flow state is the fact that it will come up with images and kind of the vibes and the lightings and everything, stuff that I've never even heard of before, let alone even thought about using. So I'm going to just get this going now, and I'm going to start showing you what kind of stuff I'm meaning. So just that, honestly, I still, even after using this thing for like a couple of weeks now, I still can't get over the fact just how quick it is. But all the, obviously, you guys probably use flow state quite a bit. You know that it's all coming out with different vibes and different kind of light ins, all the rest of it, and everything like that. So there's a few options locked out with flow state at the minute. However, I have found workarounds for some of them, which I will go over in a minute. But one thing I want to highlight, and this is one thing that actually came back on my video as well, is people were making all of these images and they were going quite a long way of trying to figure out what the actual kind of styles used here and everything were. A lot of people did not realize that actually if you just highlight them more like this, it will literally tell you exactly what you're using here, which I found really useful. Because if you go through all your different pictures and you think I like the looks of certain ones, instead of having to go through, save it to your library, all the rest of it, actually you can just highlight them all like this and it will tell you exactly what kind of stuff you're using. Hello, Tanith, which I think is very useful. Obviously, some of the images are still coming out a little bit squiff, but what I'm using flow state for mainly at the minute is to give me ideas to then go back into classic mode and actually make proper images with. This has saved me so much time and so much effort. It is absolutely amazing. Plus, as well, for us subscribers to Leo, it saved me so many credits that it is insane. I probably would have blasted through at least like 15,000 credits if this thing was not free. I know it is going to go to a credit in image in the near future, but at the minute, just make the use of it and just really kind of play along with it and play around with it. So, there's one thing that I do want to kind of show you here is all these different vibes, the lightings, the shot types are really cool. I like really cinematic stuff. I'm really big into cinematic stuff. I've got over 1,000 images on different stock websites now as well, and I've made quite a bit of money from selling AI stock images. Not trying to hide the fact that they're stock images or anything, but actually I really endeavour to make some very high quality stock stuff, and with this I've been able to find different lightings and different kind of vibes and everything, stuff that I just didn't think about when I was doing all the other kind of stock images and everything. Like I said, this is really useful for learning different things and different ways of doing it. So what I'm going to do is just go through kind of what I'm using for stock images at the minute. I'm also doing cartoon kinds of stuff, but I haven't got that kind of 100% yet. But the stock image stuff, I'm finding I've kind of got right down to a kind of T. So I'm going to just show you the kind of things that I'm using for that. Plus, then I'm going to show you the kind of workarounds I found for the locked out options in flow state at the minute. So we're going to jump into vibe. Vibe, the one I found the most actually for this is stock photo. Stock photo does really well here. Long exposure does quite well as well, but these two for your vibe is the way to go for your kind of really cinematic stock images kind of stuff. Your lighting, now this is where you get to play around with it a little bit. I have had some really good results from dramatic, that's a fantastic one, and volumetric is a really good one as well. They seem to work really well with the stock images that I make, and they just make it real crisp, really nice, and just really fancy looking. Shot type, this, the stock images I make, I always use the cinematic. I can see that high angle and emotion and low angle and things would work as well, but I really focus on the cinematic stuff. Color type, I kind of leave this one, I kind of leave it to Leonardo to actually give me a few different options here, because I'm finding if you select too many things here, it actually starts going against kind of what you were trying to imagine in the first place. So I like to leave Leonardo a bit of wiggle room so it can actually still put a bit of its own kind of flow into this and everything. And I'm finding that actually doing setting it up the way I've just told you, it seems to work really well. So what I'm going to do is, obviously we've just done a kind of general cars in the desert thing here. We get lots of different images. Some are really cool. I'm really liking quite a few of these, but if I want to hunker down more on those kind of images, then not only can I go onto the more like this and find out what exactly they're using, but actually if I think I've got a bit of an idea of what to kind of use, this is where I can start playing around with it, especially like I said at the minute, because it is free. This is the best time to be doing this as well. I think any of you aspiring kind of photographers, any aspiring people to try and get into stock images especially, this is one to start really playing around with, because you find some absolutely amazing kind of combinations and everything with this. So I'm just going to go through, I'm just going to do all that. I'm gonna, like I say, I'm gonna leave color theme actually there and put 16:9. I always do 16:9 because I just think that looks a lot better as kind of stock images. Again, we're gonna have the same prompt and everything. With this, I have played around with prompt enhance both on and off. I'm going to do it on at the minute, and then we're going to do it off, and then we'll see the differences between them. What I tend to do when I'm making stock images, though, is actually turn prompt enhance off, so I'm getting exactly what I want. I do, like I said, I do like to kind of give Leonardo a bit of wiggle room so it can kind of do its own thing and everything, but when I'm making particular stock images and everything, I have a bit of an idea of what I want, and I find that wiggle room sometimes kind of gives it a bit too much and goes too far out of bounds. Although running it with the prompt enhance actually to begin with will give you quite a few different ideas as well, which is quite nice. Again, I'm going to say it again, I'm still absolutely shocked just to how quick these are actually processing. But looking through all these, like some of these would be absolutely perfect kind of for videos, for pictures, for magazines, for stock, all the rest of it. Like some of these, you couldn't even get as good a picture as this for real. Like genuinely, I really believe that you would really struggle to get images as good as these. Like I think that's so amazing in the time that it's taken to actually do. It's insane how fast these images are coming up, and I think personally, unless you are very well versed in kind of AI images and all the rest of it, you'd be very difficult to tell that that's an AI image looking at it quickly in a video or in a magazine or something. I think that's just like absolutely spectacular. Again, you can go through and you can actually find out the different color themes now, because remember color theme we left blank up here, so we've just set that to automatic. I do like the kind of bluey ones, the kind of colder feeling ones, but I really like, especially out in the desert, the warmer feeling ones. You get obviously the darker tone ones as well for kind of night times and things like this, but really cool images. Like I really like them. So, there's one thing I want to say about flow state, which actually caught me out quite badly when I first started using it, is I did not realize these did not save. So when you are using these, you have to save the ones that you want to keep, and that's really thrown quite a few people that I've actually spoken to, is they thought that all these were being saved as soon as you made them. They're not. So it's just something to be aware of. When you are making these images, just be very mindful that they are not saved. If you refresh the page, you lose it all. If you do anything, if you leave this browser, you lose it all. So just make sure you're going through, you're saving everything as and when you need it. But again, some of these are like amazing, absolutely amazing. So from here, what I would probably do now is just take a few savings of the ones I really like, all the rest of it, work a little bit more on those. The upscaling function is actually available through flow state straight away, which is really cool to see. So if you do want to upscale it and all the rest of it, obviously you've got all the different options in here, which is really nice. I'm not quite sure why ultra and high doesn't actually cost you anything more and all the rest of it, because I have found much better results for Ultra. I would expect that they would cost you a little bit more, but I'm not complaining. I'm not going to say anything else, so I don't want someone to fix it. I'd just keep it like that. So it's actually quite useful, but I'll scale it all the rest of it. So with these, I make actually, not only do I make like stock images and all the rest of it with these, what I also do is actually make a lot of videos. So I use a lot of images, I change it to motion, and then I use that as a bigger kind of video project and everything. With Flux State or Flow State, even you cannot make motion video directly from this, so it just doesn't give you the option. It says coming soon. There is a workaround I have found for this. Again, not many people realize this. You can make these into motion. To do that, you have to actually save it first. That will save into your library. Once that is saved, we can go back to classic mode, find that image, and then actually motion it from there. So there is ways of doing this. You just can't do it straight through flow state at the minute, unfortunately, which is a real shame. I'm sure that will come in the future, but if you do want to make motion videos out of these, that's the only way that I've been able to find to do this at the minute. And actually, even doing it that way, it's still quite quick and everything. Obviously, the motion videos will take a little bit longer than the flow state to produce images does, but it's just something to be kind of mindful of. If you want to make motions and video and all the rest of it, that's the way to do it. As I've just proven, I have just lost everything that I've just made, because I actually didn't even realize just clicking that actually resets it as well. Apparently it does. So again, just something to be aware of, right? When you're going through flow state, every picture that you kind of make sure you save it before you click on anything, it seems, all right? Because else you are going to lose it all. So I'm going to leave it kind of open to you guys on the floor and all the rest of it. It's just a very kind of quick lowdown of flow state. We'll go with cars in the desert again. This time though, I'm actually going to turn off prompt enhance. So this is where we're now going to see the differences between prompt enhance and prompt not. That's something else I need to show you actually, is how to find out exactly what prompt you're using, but I will show you that in a minute. But again, I'm so shocked as to how fast these are making, honestly. But 16:9 wallpapers, yeah, you could upscale these as well. If you're really into cars, I think something like that would be absolute banging for a wallpaper personally. Like, really cool way of doing it. Again, things like the top down shots I absolutely love. I love top down shots for anything, to be honest. I think this just brings such a different kind of variety to different shots and everything. Really cool. Really nice way of actually making wallpapers, to be honest. There's something else as well, is wallpapers tend to do very well, especially mobile wallpapers. I would say is quite a big thing. A lot of people seem to look for mobile wallpapers, so even if you're just using this as kind of an idea to kind of prompt some of those, this is a really good way of doing it, especially at the minute for you subscribers, because this is free at the minute as well. So again, shots like that overhead one, I just wouldn't have even thought about personally. So this is another reason why I do kind of give a bit of wiggle room here to everything. But the reason I think vibe is the most important one that you really need to kind of consider, because this will it pumps out some absolute mad results sometimes. If I just put this back to automatic, just run this again, you will see some absolute mad results come out of this. I'm pretty sure you see kind of neons, kind of cartoons, all kinds of stuff. And this, obviously, this kind of stuff would not be overly good for kind of stock and things like this, or video projects and all the rest of it. So this is where I think vibe really is the only one that you really want to kind of select. Lighting, I think you can get away with. Shot type and color theme, you can definitely get away with in terms of giving it kind of bit of wiggle room. But I think with the vibe, you definitely need to be choosing kind of what you want to be using here, because I think with this, there's just too much wiggle room for Leo to kind of spout out some absolutely insane results. Try changing them all to none actually, because this isn't something I've done yet. We'll run it again, see what that kind of comes out with. I expect it will come out with kind of a bit of everything, really. Actually, personally think some of these photos here are actually a lot better than what we originally got, and that is with no options selected whatsoever, which is quite odd. It is literally just running cars in the desert with no kind of stylistic kind of choices at all here, which is quite interesting. So again, this is something else actually that I didn't even realise you could do, but this is quite useful to know, because if you need lots of similar kind of images like this is another way of doing it, because I would say some of these images again are pretty damn good in terms of like kind of resolution and everything on them, the quality on them. I mean, there are some issues with the cars facing forward and cars facing backwards. We're always going to have that kind of issue, but that kind of shot there, I think that's really, really kind of nice shot there, which is that's actually quite interesting to know. And something I've just learned then is if you select none, it is just going to run a basic kind of cars in the desert default kind of prompt. But if you need to make lots and lots of different images, this may be a way to go about it as well. So not using any kind of stylistic kind of choices or anything. And going back, I'm going to clear all these though. I'm going to actually just run this again, just all on automatic, so it does give us a load of kind of random kind of stuff here. Because another question I got asked is actually to find out how do you actually figure out what the prompt is, especially with prompt enhanced. I'm just going to run again, so I forgot to send that on. Hello Sol. We're just going to run this again. I'm going to show you exactly where to find what prompt it is using, because what I found is when you are doing these, every single image will use a different prompt. So it will use your basic kind of cars in the desert prompt, but when it has prompt enhance on, every single image will come with a different prompt. And to prove that, what I'm going to do is just save a couple of these to my library. We'll go over there and then we'll have a look at the prompts that was actually used on them. There we go. So we've got 4 saved. We're just going to go over to classic mode, and then I'm just going to see what the prompts are being used. Again, I haven't found any other kind of way of figuring out what the prompts used are other than this, but as you can see here, the 4 images we've just saved, we have 4 different prompts, which I think is very, very cool. I would expect actually prompt enhance to use the same prompt for each images, because it's rendering so many images at once. The fact that it is rendering images, every single one with a different prompt, is also absolutely insane, because of how fast it's doing it and how fast it's having to kind of work and render all that is absolutely insane. But just to prove that this is a way of doing it, you figure out what you really like, what kind of image you really like. Obviously you can use this prompt just as you normally do. You can chuck that up into your prompt there, all the rest of it, then change your kind of mode, your style, exactly how you want to do it. But I think that's such a cool way as well of figuring out how to start prompting stuff properly, especially if you are new to Leonardo, if you're new to any AI image generation. Prompting is a very, very difficult thing to kind of get your head around and figure out what actually works and what doesn't. This is also a way of doing it, especially early doors. I have to say, I really, really wish we had this 2 years ago, because that would have made my life so much easier in learning how to prompt stuff. I'm going to go back into flow state though. If there's anything else anybody wants me to look at, I will have a look at it. But obviously you've got all your different options and everything here, same as always. So those of you that haven't used this yet, it's all very similar. So we're going to run a couple of fashion ones. Was there anything in particular in the fashion themed contest that I need to kind of aim for, or was it just a fashion themed thing? Because I can tell you now, I'm not one for fashion, to be honest. I'm not a fashionable guy, so we'll just go with that. So on a runway, all right. This is how I would do any competition: is use this first, get some really, really good ideas, and then kind of start working on the images themselves. Because some of this stuff I would never even think about. Never even think about. We're going to try and go a little bit kind of wild card here now. So, right, so we're really going wild card here. See what this is going to kick out for us. I mean, it's not overly humanoid, but we've got something here. We've got something. I mean, that's quite fashionable. I don't know how you could get more fashionable than that. Oh, that's cool. So that is just something I would never ever have thought about doing in my life, is a black and white rabbit in a top hat. Like, that's just, this is just absolutely amazing for prompting ideas. It really is. I think that's the biggest selling point of flow state, is the amount of ideas it can give you in such a short space of time is absolutely insane. I absolutely love it. Oh mate, it tucks when it comes to fashion. There's a lot of stuff I don't know, so this is definitely something I would be relying on to give me some ideas and everything. Again, I think it's the speed of this that it always gets me. Like I remember waiting 2 years ago for a simple prompt like that would have taken easily 2 to 3 minutes. Like easily 2 to 3 minutes for 4 images. I can just scroll down and there is just millions. It won't ever stop. Like I absolutely love it. It just keeps going. There's just so much good stuff here, and it's like, it's this kind of stuff I would never even think about. Never even think about like that. I think personally is a very very cool image there. Possibly not walking down the runway fashion or the fashion runway, but I'm liking that. That is a real solid kind of shot there. I'm absolutely loving it. Well, that works as a puka. Right, I'm saving that one then. That one's getting entered. We're going to try Pro Photo actually. We're going to see what kind of things this gives us now. Yeah, so I think Pro and stock are very very closely tied. I love these kind of shots. They're I think absolutely banging. Just like the top down shots. I think that is just cool, a cool shot. Yeah, so what I would do now is actually save a few of these. I'd go through, I'd upscale them, I'll make them look kind of real, kind of nice and as good and proper as I can, and then that's what we'll be getting into. But definitely when it comes to stuff like fashion and things, I haven't got a Scooby Doo what I'm doing in terms of fashion. So I would be so heavily reliant on this kind of stuff that actually this is coming up with ideas I would never even think about. Never even think about. I think that one there personally as well, that in motion kind of shot, I think is really cool. I think that kind of sunlight glare is the only thing kind of letting this shot down, unfortunately. But I think everything else there is pretty badass. If you do want to keep this tab open, but you want to work specifically on one image or get more like a certain image, say this one here, there's something to be aware of, and I only found this out in the last couple of days as well, is you can keep this original tab open. If you hit the more like this, it will actually open up a second tab, which is really, really good to know. So that seems to be the only button that doesn't clear everything at the minute. So as soon as you hit more like that, or more like this will make a new second tab up here, and then you can literally just flick back and forth, which is really, really cool. I have not tried to see how many tabs we can have open, so we'll try that now, just so we're all aware. You can have two. That's it. So you can just have two, unless two actually plays off as well. Three. Okay, so it's going in that kind of order. So yeah, if you want to keep on working on certain images, that's the way to do it. Okay, yeah, so yeah, four, so you're right there, Sol. So yeah, I've gone from one image in the main page. I found one like it, and then I've made more images like that, so on and so forth, up to four. So this is a way you can really, really kind of bottom down on a particular image that you really want to have, which is quite good. Well, so obviously one, all we had on was Pro Photo. We moved to two. That's put in close up jet black. Three has actually kept them, but just focused more on actually what the content of the reference or the image is. And then four has kept them all as well, and just really kind of bottomed out into what you're wanting, which I think is a really, really cool way, because you can see here these images now are very, very similar. So this is a really cool way of really kind of bottoming them out to an image that you really, really want, or as well if you want multiple similar images, which is very useful for a lot of different video projects. I'm gonna wrap it up there. We've been going over half an hour, so unless anybody wants to ask anything else or go over anything else, have a look at anything else, and let me know. If not, then I'm gonna say thank you very much for all of you coming out. I know it's a bit of a late one, but it's the only time I can do. So hopefully you've all enjoyed it. You've learned something. I definitely have learned something, even though I thought I knew everything I could already, but apparently not. We'll see how good this is for text, shall we, Willow? It's not bad, is it? It's not bad. Cool. Thank you very much, folks. I hope you've enjoyed it. I think Dee is going to put this video out onto the community YouTube, so if you do want to go back through anything, if you've missed anything, all the rest of it, just head on over there. If you want to ask any questions as well, just leave a comment over on that video or just DM me on Discord and I'll be happy to kind of respond to any of you. But thank you all for coming out. I've enjoyed it. Hopefully they'll invite me back for more as well. If there's anything in particular that you want me to cover later on, just let me know. If I said this at the start as well, but those of you that have missed it, I'd be very, very, very grateful if you could hit me up on my AI Tech Track channel as well on YouTube. So I believe I've put it in my Discord profile, which would be a fan-tastic. But thank you very much for watching. I hope you all have a good one. I love you all. I'll see you later.